For the first time since 1996, the Brazil men's basketball team found themselves matched up with the United States in the quarterfinals of the Olympics. And let's just say history never fails to repeat itself, as the last three matchups between these two teams have been dominating blowouts for Team USA, and 2024 was no different. You see, throughout the exhibition games, Team USA really didn't look that great, and it caused a ton of speculation as to whether or not this team is even good enough to make it out of the quarterfinals. And I've made multiple videos covering those exhibition games, and in every close game, I said people are simply overreacting to a preliminary game that counts for nothing. And if we fast forward to the group play phase, two of those games were rematches, but this time it counted for something. And I think the biggest standout was South Sudan, because as we remember, it took a LeBron game winner to save that game.
Steph, LeBron drives for the lead, he puts it in! With 8 seconds remaining.
But in the official Olympic game, Team USA turned a 1-point win into a 17-point blowout. And from that point, the United States just continued to get better. They easily blew past Puerto Rico despite shooting just 28% from 3 because their teamwork had developed significantly. And against Brazil, the chemistry level continued to rise. Since the first group play game against Serbia, Team USA's assist numbers got better and better. But not only did those numbers improve, but the assist to turnover ratio also got better, going from 24 assists and 17 turnovers against Serbia to 31 assists and 11 turnovers against Brazil. A drastic improvement, especially considering sloppy turnovers and too much hero ball was a major issue in the early stages of the team. But sharing the rock and more importantly taking care of it wasn't even the biggest improvement in this game. You see, Team USA is made up of extremely talented superstars, each of them being able to score in their own unique ways. And we all know if you put them together, offense will not be a problem. But the defensive end is where Team USA can really amp it up. Because it's one thing to just outscore the other team, but it's another to outscore and shut down the other team. And that's exactly what they did against Brazil. Going into this game, it was obvious that Brazil really didn't have the talent to keep up with Team USA. And not only did the United States take that advantage, but they abused it. They held Brazil to just 32% from 3, but they also contained them to just 41% from the field. And if it hadn't been for Bruno Caboclo shooting 65%, the field goal percentage would have been closer to 33%. But even with Bruno's contributions, Team USA's 3-point percentage was still 7% higher than Brazil's field goal percentage. And that disparity was created all on the defensive end. Sure, Team USA was on fire from 3, but we're talking about a team made up of guys that make shots at a high rate on a daily basis. So if anything, this is to be expected. But stats and numbers are one thing, and the actuality of the game is another. So let's take it back to the beginning. From the start of the game, Team USA already looked different. The defensive intensity, playmaking, and shot making all were clicking. The starting unit got out to a great start, and the bench unit continued the pace, ending the quarter with a 12-point lead. A much different first quarter than the Puerto Rico game. But just like against Puerto Rico, the second quarter was when the game officially got out of hand. After entering the second quarter with a 12-point lead, Team USA would go on to outscore Brazil 30-15. And even though Brazil had their own personal run about halfway through the quarter, once it ended, the United States won up them with a 15-0 run to close out the first half, 63-36. Just 36 points in 2 whole quarters. It was nothing but lockdown defense. And with Brazil shooting just 34% at the half, the numbers don't lie. But once again, Team USA is in possession of a double-digit halftime lead. But this time, it's not just a 19-point lead, it's a 27-point one. The biggest halftime lead we've seen so far in these Olympics by the United States. And all Team USA had to do was simply not play awful, and they would cruise to victory. And that's exactly what they did. Entering the third quarter, Brazil definitely looked a little better. They were making some shots and managed to score 35 points in the quarter. But the problem is, they let Team USA score 31 points. And considering the US was already up 27 points, a 4-point quarter win really doesn't do much. But I think this quarter definitely showcased Team USA's offensive teamwork the best. There were multiple instances where players would back cut for easy dunks or layups, and off-ball cutting created multiple open three-point attempts. It looked like a completely different team compared to the early hero ball stages of the team. But the fourth quarter was just the icing on top, as the United States would outscore Brazil 28-16, finishing the game with a 35-point win. Last game against Puerto Rico, I said that Joel Embiid definitely had his best game so far, but against Brazil, he had an even better game. He was knocking down threes when he was left open, and on some possessions, he was giving great defensive effort on switches, sometimes even taking on multiple switches in one possession. Sometimes it's not even about scoring, but giving effort can make all the difference, and I think Embiid did that this game. And once again, Devin Booker has remained a very solid scorer. Throughout the Olympics, he has been a very consistent wing, and he continued to knock down shots against Brazil, and he was the leading scorer after only missing 3 shots. However, Steph Curry still really hasn't found his rhythm shooting-wise. He didn't get that many opportunities to shoot like he did against Puerto Rico, although he did get a couple layups early after some great off-ball action. Although I'm sure a lot of us just want to see one game where Steph Curry has a Steph Curry flurry.
Good to see Moses get healthy on this trip. Steph just hit that from South Bend.
Comes in and picks up where everybody else left off.
Oh, Steph 5 for 5.
That's how you're getting a tiny bit of separation. Oh my goodness.
Come on! 6 for 6.
However, this is not to say that he's useless because he's not shooting well or he isn't scoring the most points. He still has unmatched value simply based on his gravity alone. His off-ball activity still helps create opportunities for others, and his unselfish playstyle is still beneficial for a team full of superstars. But overall, I think that this game was by far the best game Team USA has played. And what better time to start peaking than the bracket phase, because some tough matchups may be ahead. But anyways guys, what do you think about Team USA after their 3rd official Olympic game against Brazil? Was this an even better game than the Puerto Rico one? And do you guys think we will ever see a Steph Curry breakout game? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.